Welcome to the Central Alabama High School Sports Show podcast, brought to you by Andrew Sports Medicine, Land of Frost, Hamburger Heaven, Huffman Electric, and State Farm.
And good evening, folks. As you can tell, we're here, another show to do, and we're happy to be here at Fultondale High School, where today we're going to recognize two coaches and some of their athletes. But in the opening segment, I look forward to spending a few minutes here with head football coach, athletic director of Fultondale High School, Don Dover. Coach, good to see you.
Good to be seen. Thank you so much for having me, Snapper.
And Coach, I don't know when you've been on the show before, but for people that may be seeing you for the first time, tell us a little bit about your background and how you ended up here at Fultondale High School.
I spent most of my time coaching college football and had an opportunity. I'm from Birmingham, went to Berry High School before it became Hoover, and moved back. My parents are still alive and wanted my children to be around their grandparents, right. And so moved back here, and was fortunate enough to get a job here in Fultondale about 6 years ago, and was promoted to head coach about this time last year.
Well, now here's the key question, because I talked to a lot of head coaches and athletic directors, and so this would apply to you as well. What kind of experience was it going from your high school, just the head football coach, to all of a sudden you're over all the athletic department?
Well, here has been great because all the head coaches of all the other sports, all team players, and do what they need to do to make sure that everything's taken care of with them. And I just kind of oversee and make sure that they have all the things that they need to be successful. Yeah,
so what are the biggest challenges for you? Like you said, you oversee, but that entails a lot. But basically, as you can break it down, there is a big difference in being an athletic director and just a head coach.
Well, there's fundraising and there's parent involvement, things like that, and with the AHSA and Coach Savarese down in Montgomery, making sure that all our paperwork's in order to make sure that everybody's eligible. Yeah.
And what kind of challenge did you find that, or has it been a smooth transition?
It's been pretty smooth. I'd been here for a little while, so I knew a little lay of the land, and when I needed help, I knew who I needed to go to for point me in the right directions.
Well, now I know there's always been outstanding coaches here, and we were talking about the fact that, for instance, one of your coaches that we'll be visiting with in a few moments has had basketball coach has had one of the best seasons you've ever had here.
Yes, sir.
And so, and I know we'll be visiting with a wrestling coach later, and this is a national coach that has Hall of Fame
yes, sir.
Coach in his profession. So you've been around some outstanding coaches, and I know that's got to make your job easy.
Oh, most definitely, and all that, the way they lead and all, to lead these young men and these young women that we have here. I've been very, very blessed with the coaches that we have here at Fultondale.
It looks like, Coach, does this look like this will be a place that you can call home for a while? Do you think you might end up finishing here?
If they still have me, they'll still have me, I'm very happy here. So.
Well, I tell you what, like me and you have talked about, it's great to, one, see you doing well in your profession, and two, enjoying the success that your coaches and kids are having.
Yes, sir.
And we look forward to seeing you down the road.
All right. Thank you so much.
We're going to take a quick break, folks. We come back, our first coach of the evening. Don't you go away. We'll be right back. You can catch our show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, Stitcher, and YouTube. You can also visit us on our social media outlets, Facebook and Twitter. Be sure to like and subscribe to our platforms. If you have an idea for a show topic or would like to be a sponsor, please email us at castvshow321@gmail.com.
Take your taste to a different place. It's the taste of hamburger heaven. A taste of heaven is always best. Now you know that you're blessed. Give your taste a whole new spin. Bring your friends and come on in. Take your taste to a different place. It's the taste of hamburger heaven.
Land of Frost Premium is America's best-selling 1-pound deli pouch, now available in 12 delicious flavors, including new flavors of mesquite turkey and cotto salami. High school athletes across the country ask for Land of Frost by name. These great items are available at your local grocer, including Piggly Wiggly, Food Giant, Western supermarkets, and many more. Land of Frost also makes other varieties of lunch meats, including deli shaved bistro and sub sandwich kits. Land of Frost is a proud sponsor of youth sports as well.
At Andrew Sports Medicine, we partner with our patients, trying to help them overcome the obstacles that keep them from achieving their goals.
This practice aggressively pursues victory over injury, over pain, over limitation, over anything that's going to keep you from being the best you can be.
It starts with our non-surgical physicians who are trained in sports medicine and orthopedic injuries. We have specialists in sports medicine with shoulders, elbows, and knees. We have hip specialists that do only hip surgery, including arthroscopy, minimally invasive resurfacing, and total hip replacement if needed. We have joint replacement surgeons. We have spine surgeons. We have surgeons that specialize in foot and ankle surgery and in hand surgery. So just about all the specialties of orthopedics are covered at Andrew Sports Medicine.
What makes the great surgeons great is their volume of experience at making decisions, whether that's intraoperative decisions, post-operative decisions, pre-operative decisions, the decision to operate on somebody or not operate on them. And so our volume here breeds good decision making. That gives us an edge in terms of making decisions for our patients, which ultimately is a lot of times the difference between success and failure. The teams, the players, the parents have confidence in us because they know we're going to communicate with them. We're going to create a plan unique to that athlete or that person, and we're going to get them back to their thing as quickly and as safely as we can.
At Andrew Sports Medicine, our mission is to partner with our patients and to help them succeed and achieve victory. Whether you're a weekend warrior, a grandparent with a shoulder problem, or a professional athlete, you get the same care, the same high-level technology, the same aggressiveness that we would in a professional athlete, and we treat everyone the same way. None of us like to lose. We're all very competitive, and we're not going to lose against their illness or their injury.
And folks, welcome back. As you can tell, I've got a coach sitting here with me. It's a basketball coach, been here a while, a little bit. And Coach, before we get into talking about your season, tell us about your background, what has led you to Fultondale, how long you've been here.
Overall, I've been at Fultondale for 13 years, or 12 years, going on 13 next year. I live in the community. I've lived here for 25 years. Job came open 12 years ago. I applied for it, got it. I've been the head basketball coach here for 6 years. Enjoyed every minute of it.
And of course, we're talking about David Reed here. And Coach, my understanding, one of the best seasons that Fultondale has had in basketball in a long, long time. Going into this season, what did you expect? Did it surprise you, the success you had this year?
It surprised me a little bit. We lost a good bit off of last year's team. We didn't have a lot of height, didn't have a lot of depth. But the kids really bought into what we were working on in preseason. We came out, won the first 2 or 3 games. Things started rolling from there. We won a couple of games we probably shouldn't have won. And from there, we ended up having a real good season, 19-7. Made it to the regionals for the first time in probably 25 years.
Wow. And so it sounds like from the record, a lot of times you have what we call peaks and valleys. But evidently it seems like your team was pretty steady the whole season through.
Yes, sir, it was. For the most part, our guys were even keeled. Not a whole lot of valleys, as you talked about. We were real consistent. We basically played to our strengths. We didn't try to do things that we weren't capable of doing. And this is one of those teams where the chemistry was real good. Players got along with each other. They wanted each other to succeed. And, once you start winning, that takes care of a lot of the other deficiencies that you have. And, it was just a great team to be around, a lot of great kids.
Well, now, I talked to the athletes about it, may even talk with your athletes about it, but from your standpoint, talk about the value and how important it is to have good team chemistry?
Well, you know, when kids like each other and they get along with each other, they're going to share with each other. I've had teams in the past where they were good athletes, good basketball players, but they didn't get along with each other. And that causes a lot of problems, not only on the court, but off the court. Jealousy plays a big part in the success of a basketball team. And like I said, this team, they weren't jealous of each other. They just wanted to win.
Well, and you know, when you can find a team where you've got the athletes that not only are good people, but good leaders, sometimes they can help a head coach immensely with keeping that chemistry and keeping the right attitude on the players. Sometimes they can do a better job than the coaches, and I don't mean that in a negative way. It's just they'll take charge, and next thing you know, you don't have that problem anymore.
You're absolutely correct, and those two guys right there are prime examples. Not one time that I've coached them that they ever asked me what their scoring average was or rebound average was. All they cared about was what the win-loss record was. And I think that's a testament to the type of kids that we have in this basketball team this year.
And let me ask you this too. It's a question I enjoy asking coaches because you're going to get different answers along the way. But your philosophy, are you one of these guys that want to be up and down the floor? You want to play be defensive where the defense is important as the offense? You know, you got to have a philosophy. And the reason I say that is you're only allowed to implement your philosophy if you have the athletes for it. Because I guess somewhere along the road, there's compromise involved, not only for you, but for the players as well. Talk about that aspect.
I think that it depends, like you said, what kind of athletes and basketball players you have. This year's basketball team that we had, we didn't have a lot of scorers. So our biggest issue was we needed to play good defense. And that defense, if you play good defense, that translates into getting good baskets on offense.
Right.
And I think that's what we tried to do this year is we tried to play good defense. And when we got on offense, if we had a chance to push the ball, we wanted to push it. But if it wasn't there, we wanted to pull it out and set up for a good shot, run a little clock, and then go from there.
Well, now I know too, another very important part of your job is scheduling. And most all coaches, regardless of what sport it is, they have the freedom to select teams they want on their schedule. And the only place where there's no option is in your region games or area games. But now, with that in mind, what is your philosophy? Do you like to schedule teams that you'd have a hard time beating? And if you do, you've really done something. Or if you don't win and you played that team close, you feel like you've done something. Or do you want schedule some teams where you should win and then schedule teams that you ought to win?
I think there's a balance there. My philosophy is I want to schedule 2 or 3 teams that's going to be difficult for us to beat, but I think we have a chance to beat them.
Right.
Then I want to schedule a couple of games, 2 or 4 games where we're equal. And then I want to schedule my area games.
Right.
I don't necessarily ever want to go out and play somebody that I automatically know I'm going to beat.
Right.
I want the games to be competitive. Now, sometimes it doesn't work out that way, but that's my philosophy. And I always want to play some teams that will prepare us for area play and will also prepare us when we get in, if we happen to make it to the regionals, prepare us for that.
Well, and one of the most important aspects, too, now, is you come off one of the most successful seasons this school has had in a long time. Now, having said that, now tonight, I think, or this afternoon, both players that we'll be interviewing are seniors.
Yes, sir.
So they will not be here next year. So coaches always look ahead, absolutely nothing wrong with that, because next year's coming, the good Lord willing.
Right.
And so coming off of a very successful and satisfying season, how much do you have coming back next year? What are your expectations for next year?
My expectations for next year are the same as they were this year. I expect to be back to the regionals next year, and I expect to go further. That's my goal. The team we have next year is going to be real guard heavy, a lot of good ball handlers, a lot of good penetrators, a lot of decent shooters. The thing that we're going to be lacking is inside play. These 2 guys played on the inside. They're going to be gone. So that's going to hurt us a little bit.
And I know one other thing, and time gets away from us, but one thing that being in the classification you guys are in, one thing that y'all deal with that a lot of other coaches don't have to is travel schedules. Well, what's that been like? I know that's been one of the biggest challenges for coaches that have smaller teams, smaller classifications, because you have to go outside the Birmingham, Jefferson County area to find some ball games.
Yeah, there's not a lot of small schools around us. There's some small private schools around us, and they'll play us. But right now, it's difficult having a schedule for next year. Teams see what kind of success we have, and schools our size try to sometimes shy away from that. So I'm having to schedule schools that are bigger than us right now just to make out a schedule for next year.
Yeah. So that's why I say sometimes the challenges are maybe bigger than they ought to be under normal circumstances. But here's the one good thing about it, Coach. Like you said, you come off a very exciting, successful season. And so I know that makes you look forward to the challenge of next year's season. Once again, it's been a while since we've seen you. Coach, we wish you all the best as the head coach here. And it sounds like you've got the program headed in the right direction. All it takes is a little bit with some athletes and some coaching, and that's your job.
That's exactly right.
Once again, congratulations on a very successful year.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
We're going to take a quick break. We come back. A couple of athletes been very instrumental in the outstanding season the Fultondale Wildcats had on the basketball court this year. We'll be right back.
At Andrew Sports Medicine, we partner with our patients, trying to help them overcome the obstacles that keep them from achieving their goals.
This practice aggressively pursues victory over injury, over pain, over limitation, over anything that's going to keep you from being the best you can be.
It starts with our non-surgical physicians who are trained in sports medicine, orthopedic injuries. We have specialists in sports medicine, shoulders, elbows, and knees. We have hip specialists that do only hip surgery, including arthroscopy, minimally invasive resurfacing, and total hip replacement if needed. We have joint replacement surgeons. We have spine surgeons. We have surgeons that specialize in foot and ankle surgery and in hand surgery. So just about all the specialties of orthopedics are covered at Andrew Sports Medicine.
What makes the great surgeons great is their volume of experience at making decisions, whether that's intraoperative decisions, post-operative decisions, pre-operative decisions, the decision to operate on somebody or not operate on them. And so our volume here breeds good decision making. That gives us an edge in terms of making decisions for our patients, which ultimately is a lot of times the difference between success and failure. The teams, the players, the parents have confidence in us because they know we're going to communicate with them. We're going to create a plan unique to that athlete or that person, and we're going to get them back to their thing as quickly and as safely as we can.
At Andrew Sports Medicine, our mission is to partner with our patients and to help them succeed and achieve victory. Whether you're a weekend warrior, a grandparent with a shoulder problem, or a professional athlete, you get the same care, the same high-level technology, the same aggressiveness that we would in a professional athlete, and we treat everyone the same way. None of us like to lose. We're all very competitive, and we're not going to lose against their illness or their injury.
And this will be your premium right here.
Sorry to interrupt. I just want to say, I combined home and auto with State Farm.
Saved $760.
Love this guy.
Okay, does it bother anybody else that the mime is talking? Freaky.
Bundle home and auto, and you could save $760.
That's 760 very good reasons to call Alan Gurdeau in Trussville today.
And folks, welcome back. You can tell I got three outstanding young athletes sitting here beside me that were all instrumental in a very outstanding basketball season this year the Wildcats had. Sitting closest to me, Dexter Lewis, senior, and you're a forward, right?
Yes, sir.
And then Jalen Hicks, senior guard, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and Austin, what position you play?
Forward.
Forward, okay, so we got two forwards and a guard. So all you guys seniors, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, going into this season, and we'll start with you, Dexter, What were your goals, not only for yourself, but for your teammates this year?
Mainly, I just wanted to do the things that I know I can do, rebound, and put up a couple points for my team. And I knew we could go far. I knew we had the talent to make it where we did. But I just wanted to, do my best, play my best for my team.
Well, then coming into this season, you expected it to be not only better as an individual, but better as a team, right?
Yes, sir. I expected myself to do way better than my previous season.
Okay, well, great. That's what you hope to do, is improve from one year to the next. Jalen, a senior guard, or you're a shooting guard or point guard?
Shooting guard.
Shooting guard, that's what we like, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, now, do you participate in any other sports other than basketball?
No, sir.
Okay. So did it surprise you? Were you on the team last year?
Yes, sir.
All right. What were your goals for yourself this year?
I just wanted to better myself and just add on to what I did last year and do better and better each time I played.
Well, did it surprise you after the season was over with, what a good season y'all had compared to what it's been the last couple of years?
I wouldn't say surprised, but I knew that we can do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you had expectations that it was going to be a better year. And Austin, you're a senior and forward as well. And how about you? What were your expectations for you and your teammates this year?
Just better myself, do better every game, learn from my mistakes, and try to take the team forward as I did.
When Austin, when you see that schedule, and how many years you've been playing basketball?
Since 7th grade.
Oh, okay, so you've been here playing ball a lot.
Yeah.
When you see that schedule, are there any teams that you look at and say, gosh, I can't wait to play those guys?
Yeah, every season, Oak Grove, Midfield, yeah.
Okay, so these are teams y'all sort of play on a regular basis, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. And Jalen, for you, was there a team that you saw that you always look forward to that game?
It'll probably be midfield.
Midfield, yeah, they do very well. And how about you, Dexter?
Midfield, Locust Ford, Oak Grove, teams like that got big inside guys.
All right, now look, guys. I know two things about you already before we sit down and talk. One, that you're good athletes, and two, you're good in the classroom. How I know that? Because if you didn't qualify in the classroom, we wouldn't make it to the basketball court, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I know you work hard practice, you work hard in the classroom. Now, what I want to know, and we'll start with you, Dexter, what in the world do you do to unwind and take the pressure off of those two areas?
Well, I don't really think of it as pressure. It's just school. School is basketball, two things I love.
Right. But to unwind, though, and pressure may be the wrong word to use, but being in the classroom, you got to pass.
Yes, sir.
And being on the basketball team, you want to be first string, right?
Yes, sir.
So it may not be pressure, but it's a little bit pressure to hold that position,
Yes,
right?
sir.
So with all that going on, what do you do just to unwind, though?
With basketball practice,
Really?
That's the way you get better.
Rest a lot, or you like to play video games? Or?
I do. I play video games.
Now, see, that takes a little of the edge off, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, how about you, Jalen?
Yeah, I play back. I enjoy practice though. I like practice.
Yeah, you're one of these guys. A lot of times I've had players tell me, and they're the exceptions. Okay, that sometimes they enjoy the practices just as much, if not more, than the games. And talking about that and pressure that you can have put on yourself, do you feel more pressure to win at home or to win on the road?
I say away.
Away? Because here, a lot of times the guys tell me at home, for the simple reason you're playing before the home crowd, you always want to win.
Yeah.
But I've also had them tell me when you go on the road, the pressure is there, but it's not like to win in front of the home crowd and all.
Yeah, but I like winning in front of the home crowd, but it's more pressure when you're away.
Yeah, okay, because you got that hostile environment, and the only way to turn that off is dominate the other team if you can, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, Austin, how about you? What do you do to take the pressure off, or just relax a little bit?
I would say practicing and then listening to music. Just
really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. One of those situations, do you feel less pressure at home or more pressure on the road, or how do you feel about that?
I feel like it's more pressure to be at home because you're in front of your home crowd. You don't want to let them down.
Yeah. And you know what? Athletes, we're a funny group. I was an athlete, believe it or not, 50 years ago, all right? But we're superstitious. A lot of us are superstitious. And so with that thought in mind, Dexter, do you have anything that you have to do a certain way, this way or that way, and if you don't, you're not going to play as well?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
All right, give me an example.
I have to listen to music before the game. I like to go and listen to music in our locker room before every game.
Really? And I bet you're listening to country music, right? That was a trick question. Okay. But say that's sort of relaxing and get you ready. Okay. How about you, Jalen?
Yeah, I gotta listen like to a certain song and like I gotta have an orange sleeve on.
Well, we got to do whatever it takes to make us think we're going to play our best, right? Austin, how about you?
Like they said, it's the same thing. You listen to music, it's getting the rhythm. Do the same thing I do every game.
All right, now I'm going to shock you guys, okay? Let me tell you this, and think about what I'm saying. It don't matter what you do like that. Up here, we think it helps, but what really does the trick is when you get out on that court and you play the basketball, you know how you play, right?
Yes,
but for some reason, we think if we do this, we do that the same way, we're going to be okay, right?
Yes,
or do well. All right, well now Dexter's a senior now. Next year, hopefully off to college. Where do you hope to go?
I'm going to college first, and then I'm going to the military.
Okay, well that's terrific. All right, Jalen, how about you?
I haven't decided yet.
You haven't?
I'm going to college.
Yeah, undecided. That's a popular university, so that will work itself out. How about you, Austin?
Where I'm going, I haven't decided yet, but I'm going to study money management and business.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this, guys. Being physically active in sports and basketball in particular, see that gentleman over there? One day somebody's going to take his place. And I guess what I'm thinking about, and we'll start with you, Dexter, you ever thought about maybe coaching one day?
Definitely.
Really? You'd like to do that?
I love to coach.
You think you have what it takes on the inside to get after the kids?
Well, I know coaching a tough job.
Yeah,
I see the stuff
but it's a good job too.
I think it's something I can do.
Okay, how about you, Jalen?
Yes, sir. I think I could too. I just take like some of the stuff I learned that Coach Reed do, I use it and do it. I feel like I'd be a successful coach.
Well, that lets me know he's been a good influence on you, and that's what you would hope to be to somebody else, right? And how about you, Austin?
I feel like I can do it. It'll be a tough thing to do, but I feel like I can push through it.
Yeah, well, something that you've done a lot, and if you were pretty good at it, you'd like to think you could teach other kids to do that, right? Well, guys, first of all, congratulations on what was really a good year for your team, and it was one that you'll remember for a while. The last question I got, and we'll start with you, Austin. To this point in your young life, who's been the most inspirational person or persons?
The most inspirational person has probably been my dad. Just showing me everything I had to do, everything in my life, just been there.
That's the key. The last thing you said, been there. That's what parents do, right? Okay, how about you, Jalen?
I say my mom and Coach Reed, because they both drive me and they both know what I can do, and they always push me to the top and want me to be able to.
Well, good, and that's what parents are for. They want their children to be the best, whatever that is that they're doing or trying to do. And how about you, Dexter?
It's definitely my grandfather. My grandfather always pushes me, always.
Well, I tell you what, guys, like I said, all of your seniors graduating and off to the next part of your life next year, regardless of where it is, what school, or what you're doing, I wish you all the luck in the world, okay? Folks, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, different coach, different players. Don't you go away. We'll be right back.
Take your taste to a different place. It's the taste of hamburger heaven. A taste of heaven is always best. Now you know that you're blessed. Give your taste a whole new spin. Bring your friends and come on in. Take your taste to a different place. It's the taste of hamburger heaven.
The next time you need electrical work, whether it be commercial or residential, you need to call Huffman Electrical Contractors, a company that's been in business for over 35 years. They've served clients not only locally in the Birmingham area and all over the state, but have clients outside the state of Alabama as well. Whether it's a new building or remodeling an older building or home, they can handle the job for you. Once again, that's Huffman Electrical Contractors. The number to call is 205-661-5005. That's 205-661-5005. Where at Huffman Electrical Contractors, a satisfied customer is always their number one objective. And folks, welcome back. As you can tell, I got another gentleman up here, an outstanding wrestling coach. And of course, we're talking about Billy Hughes. Coach, tell us a little bit for people that might be seeing you for the first time about your background, how you ended up here and ended up being the wrestling coach.
I came to Fultondale High School in 1986-87. I've been here ever since. Started as assistant coach with Charlie Bruce. In 1995, I took over the program.
Really? So, boy, you've been doing that a while.
Yes.
And, well, all right, going into this season, and I guess you have expectations like all the other coaches do, going into this season. Oh, and before we get into that, you've had something, you was inducted into the National Coaches Hall of Fame, right?
I will be officially inducted in the National Wrestling Coaches Hall of Fame May 4th.
Wow. Well, that's another outstanding honor, one so richly deserved, because I know a little bit about your background. And then stability. Did you ever believe, Coach, when you got here that you would be this long at one school?
No, I really didn't. I thought I'd move on to a larger school eventually, but I just stayed. It was no reason to leave.
Right. Well, I guess then it's the love for the sport, love for the community, love for the kids that's kept you here. It's got to be that way. Well, going into this this year, what kind of expectations did you have for your wrestling team?
This year, I knew we were going to be very young. We were going to be a lot heavy on freshmen. So my goal was to break even and to try to qualify 6 for the state tournament. That was the goal. We almost broke even dual meet wise. We lost several matches by 1 match.
Really?
And that's starting several freshmen and inexperienced wrestlers. So as a team, we did all right. Individually, we qualified 3 for the state tournament. Our 160 actually broke his ankle at the section tournament. He would have qualified, put us 4 at the state. But being plagued with injuries during the season and some personal defeats of some kids in their personal lives, that made a difference as well.
But overall, it sounds like you were pretty satisfied with how you
I was
did.
very. We all got better.
What you had.
That's the thing. If we were better at the end of the season than we were when we started the season, then we were successful, and I think we reached that goal.
Well, now let me ask you this, because I don't know. I've asked baseball, basketball, football coaches this. I'm taking for granted it applies to you as well, except for. Do you plan your meet? It's a sort of a different animal in wrestling, isn't it?
We I do a plan. We start with the basics every year. It doesn't matter how experienced the wrestlers are, going back to the basics, going back to the very beginning, at the beginning of the season. And as we start into practice and practice gets more intense, the more experienced wrestlers can break off and work, and then we work with the younger kids as well.
Really? Okay. Now, how does the wrestling scheduling work with that? And I'm asking because I'm not real familiar with that.
I'm very careful at the beginning of the season who we wrestle. You have dual team tournaments, you have individual tournaments. In an individual tournament, the kids are wrestling through their weight classes and individual representing the school. In a dual tournament, we wrestle as a team against other teams and try to move through. So I try to schedule enough of both of those to give them a little taste of each one, because the section and state are individual. We do have a state dual team tournament that we wrestle in as well, so we need to do both things. I try to schedule at the beginning of the season with opponents that I know will meet whatever level we are at that point. But we'll wrestle anybody. It doesn't matter. We've wrestled Arab twice this year. We wrestled Oxford this year, defending 6A champions, defending 5A champions. You want to be the best, you look for the best competition, and you got to beat the best.
Well, let me ask you this. Going into this season, what were your expectations? I know you said you thought you were a little bit short in some areas.
Expectation was to break even, to have a 500 season.
Yeah.
And I know that's not what a lot of people look for, but when you're looking at young men who have to develop into a wrestler, because a lot of people are not natural wrestlers. is something you have to develop into. You know, fighting in your backyard is a lot different than getting on a wrestling mat.
One thing I was going, and you're absolutely right about that. The technique of and let me tell you this, wrestling high school and WWF, all that kind of stuff, is
Totally
completely
different.
different.
It's
Because
completely
I know when I was younger, I was one of these guys that I couldn't wait to see that wrestling on TV and thought it was all as real as rain and didn't know or understand until later it's
Right.
not. Now, having said that, through the years, Coach, has it been very hard, or have you had a lot of kids competing for wrestling through the years?
We have. We've just about filled a full team every year I've been here, and that's 32 years. So having that and extra kids as well. This year in the room, at some points, we have 40 wrestlers in the room. That's 7 through 12 because we're a 7 through 12 school.
Wow.
So we all practice together, which is an advantage for the younger guys. They get to roll around with some of the older guys
Right.
and get that experience from them. And it's helped us tremendously.
So, and talking about what has got you here and kept you here, has there ever been a desire to go anywhere else, or this?
I've been offered positions in other places and weighing the benefits of being here. I think Fultondale High School is one of the best kept secrets in Jefferson County. I think the fact that our student-teacher ratio is smaller than some other schools, the fact that we are a community school, that the community supports the school, it supports the kids, it makes for an atmosphere that our kids can succeed and be successful no matter what they want to do.
Well, it sounds like from what you're saying that the pluses way outman
Far
the
outweigh,
negatives.
yes.
And so I know. How does it feel to know that this induction is coming up? That's quite an honor, and so it's got to be very satisfying. But the most important thing, it sounds like to me from just listening to you talk for a few minutes, the most important thing for you is your relationship you have with these young athletes and trying to make them be the best they can be.
And that is it. And not just my guys, but in the summers when we travel to camps, I want to make sure any kid that wants to go to camp, I don't care what school they go to, has an opportunity to go to camp. And we make those opportunities available. I carry kids from Dora, Gardendale, Corner, Mortimer Jordan, Springville. It doesn't matter where they go to school. If they want to go to camp and we're going, they can go with us.
Has it surprised you any through the years, the way the number of kids that still compete in the wrestling?
It really doesn't. And wrestling is growing by leaps and bounds in Alabama right now. South Alabama, the Gulf Coast region is a hotbed for wrestling right now there. Every school in Baldwin County has a wrestling team now. It's starting to move into Mobile County. Satsuma has a team. One of my former assistant coaches is there. Another one of my assistant coaches is now at Fairhope. He was at Baldwin County. So the sport is growing by leaps and bounds in the South. So we're very excited.
Well, I was going to say, and that's one thing. On one hand, it surprises me. But on the other hand, I know that in this Birmingham area, there's a lot of outstanding wrestling coaches.
Absolutely, yes.
And that translates into young athletes such as these that we're going to be visiting with that want to be a part of
Right.
that. And so it sounds like that you and your fellow coaches have really made it continue to be a sport
Absolutely.
that kids gravitate to instead of away from.
Right.
And like I say, the situation for you, the culmination with an award like that, I want to personally say congratulations to you. And I know it's special to you, but the thing that sounds like to me, just from listening to you talk, are those young athletes you've been dealing with all these years.
Absolutely.
So, Coach, it's awfully good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
Wish you the very best. Is retirement a few years off, or you
Official retirement is June 1st.
No.
Retiring officially June 1st, and then I'll be coming back to help.
Right.
Coach.
Yeah.
Still
You know,
coach.
I've heard that happening as well.
Yes.
That you guys may retire, but you don't want to completely give up being around it.
I think Steve Gadosh is setting the example for all of us right now.
Well, Coach Gadosh, because my relationship with Vestavia, very familiar with, and what an outstanding gentleman, very successful in his field,
Absolutely.
as you have been.
Appreciate it.
Wish you all the luck in the world in retirement, because there's nothing like it, but when you can retire and then still be involved, that's a win-win. isn't it?
Absolutely.
Coach,
Absolutely.
good to see you.
Good to see you too, Snap.
And folks, we'll take a quick break. We got a couple of these wrestlers we're going to be visiting with in a few moments. Don't you go away. We'll be right back.
And this will be your premium right here.
Sorry to interrupt. I just want to say I combined home and auto with State Farm.
Saved $760.
Love this guy.
Okay, does it bother anybody else that the mime is talking? Freaky.
Bundle home and auto, and you could save $760.
That's 760 very good reasons to call Alan Gurdeau in Trussville today.
At Andrews Sports Medicine, we partner with our patients, trying to help them overcome the obstacles that keep them from achieving their goals.
This practice aggressively pursues victory over injury, over pain, over limitation, over anything that's going to keep you from being the best you can be.
It starts with our non-surgical physicians who are trained in sports medicine and orthopedic injuries. We have specialists in sports medicine with shoulders, elbows, and knees. We have hip specialists that do only hip surgery, including arthroscopy, minimally invasive resurfacing, and total hip replacement if needed. We have joint replacement surgeons. We have spine surgeons. We have surgeons that specialize in foot and ankle surgery and in hand surgery. So just about all the specialties of orthopedics are covered at Andrews Sports Medicine.
What makes the great surgeons great is their volume of experience at making decisions, whether that's intraoperative decisions, post-operative decisions, pre-operative decisions, the decision to operate on somebody or not operate on them. And so our volume here breeds good decision making. That gives us an edge in terms of making decisions for our patients, which ultimately is a lot of times the difference between success and failure. The teams, the players, the parents have confidence in us because they know we're going to communicate with them, we're going to create a plan unique to that athlete or that person, and we're going to get them back to their thing and as quickly and as safely as we can.
At Andrews Sports Medicine, our mission is to partner with our patients and to help them succeed and achieve victory. Whether you're a weekend warrior, a grandparent with a shoulder problem, or a professional athlete, you get the same care, the same high-level technology, the same aggressiveness that we would in a professional athlete, and we treat everyone the same way. None of us like to lose. We're all very competitive, and we're not going to lose against their illness or their injury.
And folks, welcome back. As you can tell, I got two outstanding young athletes as well as outstanding young men sitting by me. Outstanding wrestlers on this year's Fultondale Wildcat wrestling team. Sitting closest to me, Daniel Ferris. Both you guys sophomores, right?
I'm a junior.
Junior. How did I get that sophomore? Who told me that? I'm not going to say who told me.
I can guess.
But, okay, I got a junior and a senior. Okay. So, Daniel, you're the sophomore?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, then you seen Miss Snapper just go ahead and make that wrong, right? But don't pay attention to that, okay? Sophomore, 113 pounds. Do you know what the good thing about that? You're not going to be wrestling anybody that weighs more than 113 pounds, right?
Yes, sir.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, because you're in that classification. So, Daniel, how long have you been wrestling?
2 years.
2 years? Do you participate in any other sports?
No, sir.
No? Okay. And Chase, you're the junior.
Yes, sir.
You're in the 138-pound classification. You compete in any other sports?
I run cross country, but that's about it.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Okay. I've got a granddaughter that runs cross country, and I'll ask you the same thing. I've asked her a ton of times. When you're running cross country, I'm sorry, it just helps you stay in shape for wrestling, okay? Mm-hmm. What in the world are you thinking about? Mindset do you have when you're running like that?
Probably getting a drink after it's over, to be honest.
Well, okay, that sounds like as good a thing as any. You've been an 11th grader. How many years you been wrestling?
This was my 5th year.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, so you started young, participating in the other sports?
Yeah, cross country.
The cross country. Yeah, wrestling and cross country. Have you competed in it other years?
No, not really.
Oh, okay. What is it that turned you on to wrestling?
Well, when I was younger, I was in 7th grade, and we had like a cleanup day here,
And Coach Hughes and one of my old teammates, Ryan May, kind of like got me to join. They were like, "Hey, you should come and try it out." I came to practice, and I just fell in love with it.
Well, was that the first time though when they sort of nudged you into it that you'd ever thought about doing that?
No, I've never thought about it until
Really?
they said it. Yes, sir.
And now you love the sport. That's terrific. Daniel, how about you? How'd you get into wrestling?
Well, it was all because of my brother.
Oh, okay.
I had to wait for him after soccer practice every day. And one time, Coach Hughes told me to go in the room. And I would just sit there every day and just look at the people working.
Okay.
And then after a week, Coach Hughes told me I could go and wrestle. So I wrestled and I liked it. Then Coach Hughes asked me about if I would like to do it, and I told him.
Is that the only sport you compete in?
I did soccer and golf.
Excuse me.
And cross country.
Okay. Well, one would help you stay in condition for the other one, wouldn't it?
Yes, sir.
Well, Daniel, now how many years you been wrestling now?
This is my
second. All right, and it may be a better question to ask Chase, but it may not be. When you competed, then you competed as a ninth grader, right?
Yes, sir.
And so, was there any wrestler that you competed against as a ninth grader that you look forward to competing against as a 10th grader?
Yes.
And who was that from another?
It was two people.
Oh, okay.
It was one for Moody, one for Maver.
Oh, okay. So that's and sometimes when you have people like that you look forward to competing against, that gives you extra incentive to be the best you can be, right?
Yes, sir.
And Chase, how about you? Have there been people through the years that the next year maybe they beat you the year before, or maybe you beat them and they said, "I'll get you next year"?
Well, I had two tough losses at the state tournament in the semifinals and the consolation finals. And well, the dude I lost to the semifinals is my age, and the guy I lost in consolation finals is a year younger than me. So I look forward to wrestling them again.
Yeah, well, yeah, that would, like you said, you got to have incentive to say next time it's going to be different, right? All right, now guys, I'm not sure. I haven't interviewed that many wrestlers. There's been a few of them, but when I know that you're good in the classroom and you're good on the mat, because if you weren't, you wouldn't be there, right?
Yes, sir.
So you got to have some downtime. What do you do? And we'll start with you, Chase. What do you do to relax and unwind from the pressures of the mat in the classroom?
Well, I like going home, kind of just listening to music, hang out with my family and stuff. We bond over food most of the time.
Yeah, well, that's not bad either, because you know what? Being a wrestler and food, two good things can happen. You can eat all you want, and then you know you're going to lose it by working out, right? Okay. Daniel, how about you?
Well, I like to walk to clear things out, and video games.
To walk?
Walk around.
Yeah.
I'll go outside and take the dogs outside and just walk them around. Just get my mind clear.
Well, there ain't nothing wrong with that, because I tell you this, I walk 40 to 60 miles a week, and that's for health reasons, you know. As you get older, it helps, but you're right. Sometimes walking is a good too. But now you guys are still a long way from graduating, but Chase, when you graduate, are you hoping that the goal is maybe a wrestling scholarship somewhere, or you hope to go to college and continue to wrestle?
Yeah, that's always been on my mind. Kind of just pushing to be the best of the best, so I get noticed by these big schools.
Right.
Wrestling programs.
Well, it's a long way off, but do you think enjoying wrestling, being around it this much, that maybe one day when school is over, you don't have to be a full-time coach. You think you might like to be involved with coaching kids wrestling one day?
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's one of those things.
Yes,
okay, how about you, Daniel?
I would like to go to college, and I would love to wrestle for college.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, now, and this is way too far off for you, but if you got an idea, any idea as a young 10th grader what you might like to do one day? or is it just way too early to tell that?
I think it's early.
Yeah, I think it's early too, but sometimes it's amazing how many kids you'll have say, I've always wanted to do this, I've always wanted to do that. I know a good question I want to ask you two guys as we get close to the end here, but I got to do this. Daniel, I mentioned this a moment ago talking with Coach Hughes. Do you have a favorite wrestler that wrestles on TV that you know it ain't what you're doing, but you enjoy watching it?
You talking about like WWE?
Yes, yeah.
Probably like John Cena. Not
Yeah,
gonna lie. I
right.
like John Cena.
But even though we know that it's, for lack of a better word, we're going to use scripted, right? They can still get hurt if somebody messes up and they fall the wrong way or get mad at one another or something like that. But you enjoy watching it, right?
Yeah, they get the chairs, hit each other with them.
Daniel, you ever watch any of that or?
No, sir.
You know, okay, so we got complete opposites there. Well, I tell you what, guys, here's the good thing about both of y'all. You'll both be coming back next year. Do you think that your teams will hopefully be even more successful next year with people you got coming back?
Definitely. We got a little more experience on our wings, so we hope to take that out next year.
Okay, do you feel the same way?
Yes, sir.
Well, that's always good because it gives you more to look forward to. Well, guys, it's been fun talking with you about a sport that I know not a lot about. Like I said, I probably know more about TV wrestling than what y'all do. But wish you best of luck next year. Next year, Chase, you'll be a senior, right?
Yes, sir.
And so, boy, it'll be even more important. And Daniel, you can chase that dream a couple more years, okay? But listen, last question I got. To this point in your young lives, and we'll start with you, Daniel, who's been the most inspirational person or persons?
I think my dad.
Okay. Dad been behind you the whole way?
Yes, sir.
And sort of pushing you to try to be the best you can be?
Yes, my dad always wants us to be better than him.
Oh, did he? Oh, okay. Was he an athlete?
Yes, sir.
And he wrestled?
No.
Oh, okay.
He used to box.
Oh, okay. He used to what?
Box.
Box?
That was when he was young.
Yeah, well, I guarantee you, both those two sports, you got to watch that head, okay? And how about you, Chase? Who's been the most inspirational?
Probably my dad. He's always been there for me. He always comes to my tournaments. He's always watching me. He's always getting me practice when I can't get there. You know.
Well, absolutely. Those parents, whether it be mom or dad, are always in your corner helping you in any way they can, right? Well, guys, you had a great year this year. For a better year next year. Who knows? I might see you down the road and grow a little, grow a lot, or stay in the same weight class. But we might see a champion out of you, okay?
Yes, sir.
Wish you the best.
Thank you.
And folks, we've had an interesting afternoon, outstanding guests, outstanding athletes. We hope to do it again next week. Till then, you know what the snapper always says, bicycle. You can catch our show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, Stitcher, and YouTube. You can also visit us on our social media outlets, Facebook and Twitter. Be sure to like and subscribe to our platforms. If you have an idea for a show topic or would like to be a sponsor, please email us at castvshow321@gmail.com.